This is When You Were Everything, chapter The Best Friend I Can Be. Pages, it's a long one, 261 to 267, and it's a now. The best friend I can be. I don't want to drag Willa along on a new memory-making errand just yet. I'm not sure I'm ready to tell her about my plan, about my past, about how I've been systematically undoing the last few years of a now-dead friendship. When I whisper this to Sydney, the fact that I'm not ready, she understands. But I want them to know I'm making a real effort. I want Sydney especially to feel like I'm not running away from her again. So I invite them to come with me to Dolly's after school. This isn't a completely altruistic move. I'm thinking that if Dom is there, he'll have a harder time being angry with me if Sydney and Willa are around. I might even be able to squeeze a word or two out of him. But I want them there too. I want them to experience the beauty that is Miss Dolly's pies and Pop's fried chicken. And if Dom is there, maybe even a small plate or two. When we walk in, I seat them at my favorite table, the one in the corner near the window. Then I head to the break room to drop off my stuff. There's no sign of Dom's backpack or coat, and I feel a little bad about that. I hope I'm not encroaching on a safe space that was his first. I know how much I hate it when that's done to me. Hey, Mr. Henry, where's Dom? I ask Pop when I step back into the dining room. He's behind the counter, refilling a customer's mug with fresh coffee. Oh, he said he had a bunch of homework, Pop says. But I'm glad you're here. He squeezes my shoulder and hands me 2 glasses of water. I carry the water over to Willa and Sydney's table, and they're arguing about something, which is nothing new. There's no way I'm letting you call me Cox the Fox, Sydney is saying. Come on, Sid. It's the perfect nickname for you. Willa looks up at me. It's perfect, right? I laugh and set the glasses on the table. Sydney grabs one and takes a big gulp. Why does she need a new nickname exactly? I ask. You already call her Sid. You see, I'm fine with Sid. Can't I just stay Sid? No, Willa says. She looks away from Sydney and over to me. This is her jazz nickname. You know, like if the 3 of us were in a jazz band, what would our nicknames be? I grin. Oh, you mean like how people called Billie Holiday Lady Day and Sarah Vaughan Sassy. Willa points at me. See? Cleo just gets it. She grabs my wrist and pulls me down into the chair beside her. She throws her arm over my shoulder. I think your name would be Cleo the Kiddo. We'd call you Kid for short. You'd be on the keys, and Sydney would be the singer. I'd be drums. I don't hate it, I say. I like this game. Willa, your nickname could be the Big Bang. If you're the drummer, Willa, the Big Bang Bang. Goes with your epically long bangs, too, I say. Willa shakes them out of her eyes with a flourish, and Sydney tosses her curls, too. It's perfect and fine, Sydney. You can just be Sid, but only because it would make our intro sick as hell. Willa stands up, like she's introducing us at a gig. Her bangles ring like bells. We're Big Bang Sid and the Kid, and we're excited to play for you tonight. Sid and I look at each other and crack up laughing. For the rest of the evening, I bounce between Sydney and Willa's table in the front of the restaurant, where I greet customers as they come and go. It's nice to be here, to be distracted from what might be happening with Sloane and Layla, to not have to think about Dom being mad. All the little hurts building up inside like block towers get pushed into the little corner of my mind as I show Sydney how to roll silverware and talk to Willa about music, and tuck a few customers into the diner's coziest corners. When it starts to get really slow, about an hour before closing time, Pop lets me hook up my phone to the sound system they normally only use to play the radio, and when La Vie en Rose comes on first, he eyes me like I'm an alien. This is the music you like? He asks, his hands flat against the counter like he can't believe it. I shake my head and spin around on one of the bar stools. It's the music I love, I correct him, and he laughs. My Gigi listened to it all the time, I say, remembering her collection of records, her rough hands and how they'd lay the disc on her record player as gently as she braided my hair when I was small. Pop pulls Miss Dolly from the break room and dances with her in the narrow space between the bar stools and the back windows. And for a second I'm sad my phone is playing the music, because if it weren't, I'd be taking photos of them. It's nice sitting there watching people who have loved each other longer than I've been alive. I feel something that the last few months have left wrecked and ruined being restored little by little. Before Willa and Sydney get up to leave, I ask Willa for her number, because she's promised we'll all go see the Cover Girls together. I'll text you, okay? I promise. And I'll see you tomorrow. They wave goodbye when they head out, and I feel warm and fuzzy inside, and so much better than I did when I first arrived. I secretly hope that the three of us will sit together in the cafeteria tomorrow, but I try not to set myself up for disappointment if we don't. When Feeling Good by Nina Simone comes on a little while later, the few customers left in the diner start singing along, and I wonder if this is a better idea than just doing a fundraiser for Dolly's, playing music, or maybe bringing in a live band. Maybe even the Cover Girls, if they're as good live as they sound recorded. I look around, and there's enough space near where Miss Dolly and Pop are dancing for a singer and a keyboard. I make a mental note, but I have no idea if Dom will think of this too as charity he doesn't want or need. As the dining room empties, I walk over to Pop where he's counting the cash in one of the registers. Need help closing up too? I ask. I already let Mom know I'd be late. Pop writes something down because he still does all his math on paper. Why don't you go back and grab a broom from Dolly? You can get started sweeping the dining room floor. I nod and head to the back, my music still playing over the sound system, even though we've already locked the front doors. Hey, Miss Dolly, I say just before I walk past her. I place my hand on the knob of a small closet just outside her door. Is this where you guys keep the broom? I glance into the break room from the hall and I see a photo I didn't notice the first time I was in there with Dom. It's of a pretty, dark-skinned woman and a baby, and once I step a little closer, I can see that the woman looks a lot like Dom. When Miss Dolly sees me looking at the photo, she smiles. Maybe I shouldn't, but I take her expression as an invitation. Is this Dom's mom? I ask. Miss Dolly nods. Yep, that's my baby girl, Mallory. Pop called her Molly, so we were Dolly and Molly. I bite my bottom lip and step farther into the room. I point to the baby in the photo. Is that baby Dominic? Sure is. Miss Dolly picks up the photo and looks at it a little more closely. She smiles, but her eyes look sad. Molly got pregnant with Dominic when she was 18. She'd already been accepted into Brown, and we weren't going to let that opportunity pass her by. So when she told us she wanted to keep the baby, we told her to defer, wait a year, and we'd help take care of him while she went to school. Dominic's dad, John, was around too, but he had just joined the military. So off they both went, Molly to school and John to basic training, and somehow they just never got back to being full-time parents. Something would always come up. First, Molly wanted to get her graduate degree. Then John got deployed. Then Molly met someone while she was in grad school, and when John found out, he took on another tour. We didn't want Dominic to be jerked around, to have to move from place to place while they figured their lives out, so we just held on to our boy. By then, we were pretty attached anyway, and by the time they had both settled enough to handle having a child, Dominic was 9 or 10, and mostly as uninterested in living with them as they had been in him. You'd already made a life here, I say, because I get that part at least. They have a house and the diner and each other. They're happy. She nods. Yeah, and it's a good one, too. But then I remember Dom at that party in the summer, how he said he'd just moved here. But I thought Dom just moved back to New York this past summer, I asked. Ah, yes. He usually spends his summers in Washington, D.C. with his dad. So after middle school, that's what he did again. But then he wanted to give living with his mom a try. Henry and I were upset because we had a feeling Molly wasn't ready. I don't know how the girl thought she could go from no children to raising a teenager. But I didn't let Dom know that I felt that way. I just hoped for the best. So we moved to Atlanta with Molly. He started ninth grade there with her, but unfortunately I was right. She couldn't handle him. He started acting out, and she didn't know what to do. I honestly think Dom missed New York, and maybe us a little too, though he would never in a million years admit it. She chuckles, and I smile. We didn't want to pull him out in the middle of the school year, though, so I let him finish out that year before he came back. I'm not letting him go again. I can tell you that much right now. She reminds me of Gigi, the way she talks about Dom, like he's everything she ever wanted. It's how my grandmother always made me feel when I was with her. I swallow and dip my head a little, so happy to be in this small room with her, and so grateful for her story, but a little sad that Dom isn't here with us. Dom's upset with me, I say, and I really don't want him to be, because I've had a pretty rough couple of months, and he's been kind of great about it all. Miss Dolly looks concerned, but I want to make it clear to her that this isn't about me. What can I do to make things better between us? I'm still learning how to be his friend, and as soon as I say it, I know this is what I failed to do with Layla. She changed, and I didn't adapt. Maybe I changed too, and she didn't try to learn what the new me needed either. I don't want that to happen with Dom. I don't know how to give him what he needs, I guess. I want to be the best friend I can be. He's very proud, Miss Dolly says, without asking for any more details, even though she's just basically given me her entire life story. He's very stubborn, she continues, and he's a little too smart for his own good, she finishes. Sometimes, with Dominic, the easiest thing to do is to let him figure things out on his own. She leans back in her chair and squints at me, and her dimples pop into her cheeks, even though she's only smiling a little. She wags her wrinkled finger at me. He likes you, I can tell. I blush a little, and I can't help but smile even though Dom didn't talk to me all day. I don't know if she means as a friend or more, but either is fine with me. He'll come around, she says. Just give him a little time.